Opening arguments in Hunter Biden's federal gun case started today. Judge Mary Ellen Norica announced that they lost one juror overnight because of transportation issues, but with 4 alternate jurors, the case will carry on as planned. The president's son faces 3 charges of unlawfully obtaining a firearm, which could amount to 25 years in prison if he's found guilty.
Media on the left and right are reacting. Here's Morning Joe's Willie Geist. Take a look.
Hunter Biden is all day, every day, his laptop and everything else, and they've tried to make the implicit case that he is corrupt and therefore somehow so is Joe Biden. Now, they haven't presented evidence of that. There have been congressional committees for months and months and months who've talked about smoke but no fire yet. We're still waiting for the fire on that.
And then former Republican Representative Trey Gowdy had something that might surprise you to say about this on Fox News.
But I'll bet you there weren't 10 cases prosecuted nationwide of addicts or unlawful drug users who possess firearms or lied on applications. I bet there weren't a dozen, which makes you wonder, of all the cases you could be pursuing in Delaware, why are you pursuing this one?
Yeah, I was surprised to see that from him. So he was saying in the Fuller clip, he says, in his role as a prosecutor, he prosecuted a lot of these cases. You prosecute case of felons who aren't supposed to have guns, criminals, etc., but drug addicts is very, very rare. And he also talked about that he, similarly for the kind of what he said was a documents crime that ensnared Trump. Would Donald Thomas have been charged? Would Hunter Bowman have been charged? No, it has to do with the political nature of it, and there's some truth to it.
A little consistency there, but I do also think that the kind of MSNBC take there, that there has been smoke and no fire, and that whatever this is, even if one could agree that it's for the best, frankly, that if someone's going to have to be accountable for this kind of crime.
No fire.
All right. that if someone's going to be accountable for a crime like this or charged with a crime like this, it is better to have people who normally escape accountability because of wealth and privilege to be in this situation. Even if it also is, it's a mix of that plus the political persecution of it. It's a messy situation, but you cannot deny that at this point, it still has nothing to do with Joe Biden. So it does feel very much like a sideshow, at least, and compared with what's been going on with Donald Trump.
Sure, and I saw Claire McCaskill saying on cable news that, why are Republicans even thinking this should be prosecuted? Don't Republicans think, access to guns should be totally unlimited and that kind of thing? It's like, well, so I do obviously support Second Amendment rights. I also support drug decriminalization. There are probably a number of circumstances where I would think that in my ideal world, even if you are using drugs, I would not preclude you from purchasing a firearm. That is the law, though, now, and whether there should be some exception for Hunter Biden, given that his father is, in some sense, the chief legal authority wanting to keep drugs illegal and wanting more restrictions on guns, but Hunter Biden gets away with it. It's not that the rules should be applied unfairly to powerful people. It's that they are less commonly applied fairly to powerful people. So we would like to see some consistency, not necessarily. I don't want to see more people thrown in jail for using drugs, which should be a medical issue in some cases, usually, not to me a legal issue. And I do think there should be access to firearms responsibly, not for felons, not for people convicted of violent crimes or have some intention to use them violently or illicitly. We can absolutely restrict them from those people, and so on.
Yeah, so what we know so far from the opening statements is that the Hunter Biden defense apparently is arguing that he wasn't really interested in buying a gun, that he didn't have that much interest in buying a gun, trying to undermine prosecutors' claims that he knowingly lied to gun dealers. The gun salesman led Hunter to the guns while he was browsing other items and selected a handgun for him, the attorney said. That it was kind of an incidental, kind of sporadic purchase, I suppose, as opposed to a kind of conspiracy to say, I'm going to lie on this form.
Although that does not
in
seem
a premeditated
like the type of
sort of way.
Argument that would tend to get you out of having screwed something up where government forms are concerned. I didn't mean to mislead the authorities about that. Yeah, I wonder how much that is worth for you. I was just reading details of the jury that they ended up picking. So there was a jury pool of 65 people. They got a questionnaire. They were quizzed to determine whether they could be impartial here. Their knowledge of gun ownership was questioned. One potential juror, this is according to the local news site, was sent home. She said, this person said they could not be impartial because they'd already formed a negative opinion of Hunter Biden. Another was excused because he said it seems like politics is playing a big role in who gets charged with what and when. Well, that's not that controversial statement. The jurors who were chosen include someone who had a sister convicted of credit card fraud and drug charges, a man whose father had been killed in a crime involving a gun, a juror who said they get their news from YouTube. Maybe they get their news from Rising. Of course, they would know very much about the case if that was the circumstance.
Yes, and for those who are wondering what's happening, kind of as we're speaking, the first witness that was called was an FBI agent through whom they're planning to apparently introduce much of the digital evidence in the case, including the embarrassing information that came out on the laptop that I suppose goes to the fact of his struggle with addiction.
Yeah. As I said yesterday when we discussed this, it is a rather straightforward case. I think the defense has a tough job ahead of them, and the circumstances already have not conspired to advantage them with what was going to be their star witness, an addiction expert that could have said that his state of mind at the time he purchased was not one of an addict because he'd just gone through rehab. That witness is not going to be included in the proceedings. So they do have a tough job. It's not now, a first-time offender for this kind of crime is not necessarily going to get time behind bars, although like the Trump case, you never know. It could be.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of also interesting coverage. Well, you might not find it interesting, but there was a lot of coverage certainly about how Trump seemed to be reacting during his trial. Obviously, we were relying on courtroom sketches and firsthand accounts of whether or not this was really affecting him personally as someone who kind of presents a kind of bombastic and stoic persona to the world. People were reading in a lot to his body language, whether or not he made eye contact with certain reporters and the like. And so we're getting similar kind of reporting coming out about Hunter Biden. Apparently, this is from CNN, as prosecutors have played long excerpts of Hunter reading his own autobiography, detailing his addiction. Hunter Biden has sat still, looking down with his head resting over his chin. The clips being played to the jury detail Hunter Biden's use of crack cocaine, describing the, quote, repetitive nature, low lows and high highs of addiction. First Lady Jill Biden and Hunter's wife, Melissa Cohen Biden, have sat stoically reading during the book's reading, looking ahead to the FBI agent on the witness stand. So Jill Biden present. I mean, what an incredible few weeks for American politics to have so many high profile and high ranking political figures in courtrooms for, very serious criminal trials just in the last few weeks. I do wonder if it will start to muddy the waters for folks who might have judged Trump more harshly for what he's been convicted of in the hush money case, now having this all over their TV screens.
And let's not forget that President Biden visited his daughter-in-law, Haley Biden, who was dating Hunter Biden at one point, the widow of Beau Biden. He visited her last week. She is expected to testify at this trial as well. And I know there has been more than a little speculation about, what might have been said during that visit, if there was any encouragement to go easy on the poor guy. Obviously, that's just speculation. But
Robby, remember when political controversies in America used to involve the president putting on a tan suit?
I do. God, can you believe he did that? I'm not ready to forgive Barack Obama. A tan suit.
I mean, I got a lot of criticisms for the guy, but boy, oh boy, tan suit gate, that was a real thing.
I think we have the American flag should be flown upside down just in recognition of that moment having happened. That does it for us today on Rising. Tomorrow, I actually will be on vacation. There will be a fill-in for me, but you will be here, Briahna, I believe, so you'll be in good hands.
That's right. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while you're on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
See you later.
Take care.